Hello guys, David Vos here. Well, beautiful day in Alabama. I'm getting a late start. I had to go do some shopping. It was a beautiful day, had a wonderful time. Um, Hope you guys had a wonderful day. Friends, this is number 2 in that little, I guess, a series that we were started yesterday about Jehovah's Witnesses and the occult and, you know, all of their dealings around the world. Let me just show you right off the bat, guys, just a little clip here.
At the circuit assembly, there might be a frame with a painted door on the stage, and maybe even a doorbell for the publisher to ring. Now, if the householder was supposed to be interested, you knew it, because the house number was 777. And if the householder was going to be opposed, you knew that as well, because the house number would be 666.
Okay, so there's right straight from one of the members of the governing body, I guess, or somebody there that's important back there, their headquarters. And so what at least we got out of their mouth to admit is that they do use symbols. They heavily rely upon symbols and in their dramas, and he was talking about their great assembly dramas and so forth. Now, if you're looking at the screen, you're seeing a picture of one of their assembly halls that they have built. And we showed you that at the end of that last video we did yesterday. This is looking down on this area, and if you kind of zoom in there, you can start to see it as you get closer. That's a pyramid. And I'll be darned, but right there on the capstone, or right below, or what would be on the capstone, is what looks to be like the Eye of Osiris, or some people call it the Eye of Horus. But it is actually there, and you know, it's pretty hard to accidentally do something like that. And even if they were just kind of, oh hey, we just happened to accidentally buy this pinnacle looking pyramid piece of land, nothing we can do about it, it's an accident, right? Well, you might start wondering who's guiding their operation, right? And not that there's anything wrong with pyramids, but at least according to Jehovah's Witnesses, there is. They don't like the symbolism. But notice that there's more than just an eye and a pyramid shape. Oh, buddy. There's a picture of Horus. He wears, right below his eye, he's got these two, like, scarves or breastplate things that kind of hang down. I don't know what you call those. And it's clearly, one is smaller on the left, and there's a little bit larger and wider one on the right. That is clearly a depiction of Horus. So that is the Eye of Horus. It is certainly something that would be important to know. If Jehovah's Witnesses are actually building their assembly hall into this pyramid, well, that would make sense because Russell was into pyramids, right? And of course, Russell put a lot of Egyptian symbols on his literature. And this would definitely seem to indicate that they were involved in the occult, because it's like, it's the mark or the sign that you are in the occult, right? All these big companies, as we showed yesterday, were probably all started and financed by Charles Taze Russell. And well, the banks may have financed him and his cronies. But yeah, it's not like he didn't know it was on his literature. You know, they just stuck it on there. Well, he put it on his grave. He put it on his watchtower. I don't think that they had any control of that. First of all, remember, they printed their own books and watchtowers. So it's not like the world just did it and he's like, oh, I didn't know, right? Hey, they put it on there for me. I didn't know. No, they purposefully did it. So notice that this sign that they're always using with the cross and the crown, you say, well, that's a Christian symbol, Dave. No, it is specifically a Templar Masonic symbol. And this winged phoenix bird is definitely something that is in all of the Masonic temples and occult operations and stuff and books from Aleister Crowley. I mean, basically and virtually every organization that these people finance and put out there is to be some sort of a deception or operation or psyop. And there it is, right there on the Divine Plan of the Ages. That's a book that Charles Taze Russell wrote. And there's the winged disc, the winged sun disc. And so this is definitely a psyop, not just some passing curiosity. They're putting it on police badges. Hollywood and the song music industry are flashing all these symbols. Donald Trump's flashing these symbols. Even the governor of Texas and Elon Musk were flashing the symbols just the other day. I showed they've been showing it to the children. They're putting, it's like subliminal, putting it right there on the cartoons for the kids. It's in the church. We've all seen this information. There's no way, absolutely no way, that anyone could discount this information, unless, of course, you're one of Jehovah's Witnesses and you've been living, as a recluse somewhere in one of their kingdom halls with the windows that they don't got, right? And they've never been outside, and all they do is read the Watchtower. Then you may not realize what's really going on, because you don't really matter. Just like the people in this world, they don't tell them what they're looking at, right? The kids are watching this. It's got our dollar bill. We're running around using it in our money, and it's on all of our, important courthouses and the Capitol, and it's all the way that Washington is laid out. We know, beyond any shadow of a doubt, this is beyond coincidence. We know that it's not coincidence when it comes to the money or our government. The witnesses would admit that. But for some reason, you point this out to a Jehovah's Witness, and they're like, well, it's just coincidence. Or maybe Russell did that way back when. This is the best sort of admission you might get out of them. But we don't do it anymore. Well, friends, let me tell you, they're still doing it. And they've been doing it. And they ain't never stopped. The entire Bible they wrote was the New World Bible. They used Westcott and Hort as authorities to interpret it. They go by the Masoretic text, which is, Bavarian. They literally lie. Everybody knows it. They changed the Bible. They put a God where it should have said divine or the God. Literally, they have purposefully misappropriated symbols in the Bible and applied certain prophecies to themselves that nobody in their right mind would do that unless you're purposefully lying and misleading the people. Now, don't think it's just Jehovah's Witnesses that's doing it. You see, Charles Taze Russell was the grand poobah of all of these individual cultists. His students were Aleister Crowley and Anton LaVey of the Satanic Church. What's really surprising is that from this organization that I personally was raised in till I was 18 years old, and they threw me out, and thought that it was this wonderful, decent organization with just telling the people about the Lord, And somehow we had this mix-up between this vengeful deity in the Old Testament and this loving person who he sent, his son. He, divine being, loved the world so much he gave his only begotten son. And it never made any sense. I remember seeing the name of the original magazine that we now call The Awake as the Golden Age. And I remember hearing about their using the term millennial dawn. Wait till you see some of the terms that they're rattling off in their dictionary or their aid to Bible. I don't know what they call it now. They got a book. They used to call it Aid to Bible Understanding. I don't know what they're calling it now, but I think got rid of that one and they made a new one to update their teachings, because they're always changing their teachings. But their magazines and their books are full of symbolisms. And even to this day, their watchtowers and their awakes are full of crazy. Look at the guy's hand. It's some demonic. Why would they put that in there? Why would there be in that bag, that thief has got like a pyramid with an eye on it? Why did they put this stuff in there? And it looks like demons in the wrinkle of his coat. They always use a lot of demonic symbolisms in the wrinkles and stuff, and in the clouds. And if you notice here in this particular picture, that looks like, I don't know, was it Jesus or something? And behind him is this evil, wicked, demonic being. But guys, I want to show you something more than what you would find if you just looked up this information on YouTube. I mean, yeah, I'm showing some clips that I got off of YouTube, but I want to expand and give more proof that what these people on the internet are saying about Jehovah's Witnesses is really true. And when we show these symbols, I want to clarify what you're really looking at. I want to prove beyond doubt that this isn't just accident. And I want to share some information about their governing body and who they are and their German roots and some of their assembly halls and the symbolisms that they're using today, even today, as we speak. I'm going to share a little bit from a young woman. I don't really know much about her. I haven't watched any of her videos except for the one that I'm going to show you a little clip of. But just from this clip, I can tell you that this young woman is brilliant and is really woke and has really figured out some things. So, I recommend go to her channel and check it out. But her name is XJW Smurf Girl, if I can remember it right. I'll try to put a link in the info box below. But she is literally right on target with what she's saying. And she is really exposing this organization. I just love the information and the insight that she has. And she's so bold. I really appreciate that. She walks into, I guess, to a restaurant, if she's working there or she's just a customer. I couldn't quite tell, but it looks like there are some Jehovah's Witnesses, and maybe they're out in field service. They usually go in and spend an hour or two drinking coffee and write it down as they were out preaching the gospel. So they're sitting there drinking their coffee and having a little bite to eat. And she approaches them and says, "Hey, are you Jehovah's Witnesses?" And so the conversation gets going, and it's just amazing. I love the way she just boldly goes over there and has the courage to speak from her heart and out of love. She was so loving and kind to these individuals that she probably could easily resent. I mean, they took her family just like they took mine. And yeah, it is a hurtful thing. What Jehovah's Witnesses have done isn't just wrong, but it's way worse than wrong. I mean, think about, there are churches in the world that are just wrong, and you wouldn't be learning the truth, and that in itself would be a bad situation to be in an organization or a church that was teaching you falsely. But as bad as that is, can you imagine being in an organization where they train you to not be able to even live apart from them? Your entire world is that organization. Only they are your friends. Only what they teach is what you've been allowed to hear. And you've had no dealings with the world, and then they just throw you out on your ear when you disagree with something or whatever. You start getting confused, or maybe you smoke a cigarette or drink a beer or something, and boom, they throw you out. And now we find out that there's such hypocrisy because even the governing body are heavy drinkers, and, they have parties back at Bethel and stuff. But it is so evil because they have murdered people. People that are thrown out of that organization literally sometimes commit suicide, and many times. And some of them go schizophrenic and go crazy, or they live as a hermit, and they turn within themselves and don't know what to do or have no faith. They're just broken. They got no family. It is destructive to the max. And so it is so important that we expose these individuals, for so many various reasons, but just that people I know, my loved ones, I wish they could be freed from the grip of Satan that is now in this organization taking them down. So I'm going to show you a bunch of symbols, and I'm going to show you some proof that the people who write their books and the governing body members and the people that run that organization are not good people. They're very, very bad, and they're hurting people, and they know it. I want you to listen now to a little clip that this ex-JW Smurf girl has on her channel, where she meets these and confronts these Jehovah's Witnesses. Listen.
You guys are Jehovah's Witnesses, right? Yeah, it's nice to see you guys.
Are you a sister?
I used to be.
Used to be?
Yeah. My dad was involved, he was like an elder and all that kind of
I
stuff.
can look at you eye to eye this way.
Yeah.
I'm Renee.
Hey.
What's your
Nice to
name?
meet Veronica.
Veronica.
Nice to meet you.
Here we
Nice
thought
to meet
about,
you, too.
So your dad, does he live around here?
Yeah, he lives on the other side of town.
On the other side of town.
He's involved in like the Freemasonry side of it and the whole anointing thing. And so I deal with that. And he's like big cronies with the governing body, Tony Morris and all that.
How long have you been away from your truth?
I kind of found out what he was doing like maybe 5 years ago. I like to look at the guys' hands. I've been finding out a lot of the brothers here, Freemasonry and all that.
Well, we're not involved in Freemasonry.
Oh, yeah. Well, see, that's what a lot of you guys don't know. Like, the Witnesses are a branch of the Occult Knights Templar. But unless you're a Mason, you really don't know about it. But that's what most of the anointed are Freemasons. Like, I got involved in that. There's like a whole anointing process that you go through. Like, they'll tell you guys, like, oh, you just know you're anointed, but it's not. Like, you go through a whole grooming process, and you're told ahead of time. I'm shaking because there's a whole, like, secret society. That's why they called it the society, because it was a secret society within the organization.
Well, I can tell you, I've been in the truth over 40 years, and I've never seen that.
44.
I've never
You
seen
wouldn't.
that.
You wouldn't. Maybe
And I
they
just
keep
get
it secret.
Well, I don't
Really
know.
secret.
I mean, if it was that secretive, I don't think it would have lasted this long.
Well, even the governing body on the website wear the Knights Templar rings on their right hands proudly. Stephen Lett's got that pinky ring, and
All right, well, is this true? Well, there's some pictures that you might find if you go look on the internet, which claims that they're wearing this Masonic ring. It seems like they're all wearing it. I don't know.
But you guys wouldn't know what you're looking at. You really wouldn't. And in Freemasonry, Jehovah is the most important word.
Yeah,
but
we know
to
that.
them,
Yeah, we
it's
know that.
Lucifer. Yeah. And people don't know that. And and so I just got kind of like sick of the way they say, oh, well, the other sheep assist us, And I got tired of hearing them refer to you guys that way and seeing my father profit from it. And seeing, like they called Tony Morris Silk Suit Tony, and he's from the Philip Morris cigarette family,
So I heard her saying that Anthony Morris is from the Philip Morris cigarette company. And I thought, well, I wonder how she knows that's true, or she's just making that up. So I looked on the internet and I found this. It says he is one of 7 of the governing body members, but it says Philip Morris USA Wikipedia, the free encyclopedia. The company's namesake, Philip Morris, was born in Whitechapel, United Kingdom in 1835, the son of a recent immigration from Germany. You know what, guys? All of their presidents, as far as I can tell, were from Bavaria. We've got Frederick Franz, right? Macmillan, Hinchel, Knorr, all of them have very strong Germanic names. Now here, one of their foremost governing body members today, whose name is Morris, and is from Germany. But, then I was really just taking a look at this and thinking, well, there's just a picture of this guy and it doesn't prove anything. But look at this. If that isn't enough, what we saw, because it really wouldn't prove that Anthony Morris was related to Philip Morris just because somebody said so. But we're probably not going to find any proof. You can't find proof of anything if they don't want you to find it. But I was looking around and I found this old photograph. And if you notice, it says it's an old vintage Philip Morris cigarette tobacco picture. So it's an old picture, but I got to looking at that young boy, and I thought, well, that's about the right age, because Anthony Morris, or Tony Morris, looks like he's to be in his 70s or older today. So a black and white photograph, that could be about that time. And I'm looking at this young man. Of course, there's no way to know, but it does look a little bit like Anthony, right? And I thought, well, I'm just about to flip off of that and go on to something else and keep looking. And I got to thinking, wait a minute, what does it actually say? Anthony. And isn't that his name? Tony Morris? Anthony Morris? And so I said, okay, let's visit that site. And it says, Old Vintage Philip Morris Cigarette Tobacco Callboy. And it says, Anthony Boris. Autograph photo. And I thought, well, I guess it couldn't be Anthony Morris, it's Anthony Boris. And I thought, wait a minute, Boris? Morris? Let me see. What is this? Anthony. Well, that does look like a B, but it also looks like two R's. Instead of Morris, it's Boris. And I thought, well, you know what? If somebody wanted to, they could write an M like that, and it would look like a B. Look, that's certainly not proof, but I thought that was curious. It's a very strange thing that the date, the vintage look or the black and white photograph certainly would be about the right time. His name is Anthony. He's advertising the cigarette company of Morris, but the kid's name is Boris. I think it might be Anthony Morris. Just a guess. I don't know. But I did see this as well. It says that's the Philip Morris CEO. And just saying, kind of looks like Anthony Morris. I mean, with a beard. Doesn't that look like Anthony Morris? Well, there's a resemblance. And if you're wondering why we even care whether he's into cigarette companies or whatever, it's because Anthony, or I should say Philip Morris, has not been very truthful in the past about their products. And of course, Jehovah's Witnesses will disfellowship you if you smoke a cigarette. So it would seem rather hypocritical if you are a member of the governing body and you're presiding over all these people being disfellowshipped because they smoked a cigarette, and you're owning this company. Maybe you have stock in it. Somebody might say, well, it's his family, it's not him, Dave. But why was he chosen for the job of being one of the governing body? Because he was a very wealthy person from a wealthy family, due to the fact that they own a cigarette company. And it's not just immoral to smoke cigarettes, but according to them it is, and it's even more immoral to be a hypocrite. And even though anybody could probably paste a picture on there, this is something you find on the internet, and it does have a picture of Anthony Morris, and underneath this is supposed to be the Wikipedia describing Philip Morris cigarettes. I don't know if that proves it, but it's very, very, very close. So, and by the way, here's a picture of him with, I don't know for sure because I can't see that small of print, but it looks like he's definitely wearing, just like all the other, seems like all the governing body members are wearing a gold ring that looks exactly like, even though we can't, it's a little bit blurry, we can't quite see for certain, but it definitely looks like the type of ring that the Masons wear, maybe some graduation ring. These are older guys. What are they wearing they're all wearing this gold graduation ring that they got from their high school or from college. They don't even believe in going to college. So it's very likely, we can't prove it, but it's very likely that it's a Masonic ring. And it's odd that all of the governing body members have a ring that we saw, and there's pictures of all of them flashing it around on camera. Take a look.
And it's just a scam. It's a scam. They use circular reasoning in the watchtower, which is a form of mind control. And now they're piping it in through those cameras, or through the TV screens. And so I started a YouTube channel, and I record my father. I record what he talks about, and I don't like it. And I know, like, Tony's even addressed things I've talked about personally on jw.org, because he's, like, freaked out.
So she's talking about Anthony Morris still. Very interesting, because he's got a lot of problems here. I mean, he may be into cigarette companies or whatever, but the one thing we do know for absolute certain is he likes to drink. And the hard stuff, too. So, now, of course, maybe he's buying it for somebody, for a friend, right? Really wasn't buying it for himself. But you realize that they will disfellowship you for drinking this hard liquor. Because you can't drink more than a shot of this stuff and get a little tipsy. And if you're a little tipsy, they will disfellowship you. They will let you, you're allowed to drink a glass of wine or one beer. But if you get a little tipsy or drunk, you can be disfellowshipped. And this video shows beyond a doubt that this particular person either purchases very hard whiskey. He talks about how much he likes whiskey. His wife likes whiskey. And he knows all about it. Just ask him, because he knows all about the whiskey, right? So take a look at this little clip here. This will blow your mind.
I see you're a fan of Scotch. Do you know anything about Irish whiskey?
Yeah, not a lot. My wife likes it.
Yeah.
Jameson's always popular.
I usually get Bushnells, but I don't know anything about these newer ones.
Yeah, the Jameson's been a good long time.
Yeah.
This one I don't know. But hey, it's nice to just test them out, taste them.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I've been to Scotland
All right.
a number of times, so I just
Well, thank you.
Scottish and Irish. So a lot of the Irish ones will say,
Yeah.
you got to try our stuff.
Yeah. I know I've got the green spot that's very nice.
Oh yeah.
Well, I'll just go with
Hard.
I'll just go with another bottle of JMO.
You can't go wrong with it.
Guys, look at what's in that basket. It's full.
Yeah, have a good one.
Inside and on top. It's full of some kind of liquor. Oh my goodness. That's a lot of whiskey.
But, like, the last 6 watchtowers, that's probably going to be it. Like, they're just going to leave you high and dry. They may try and do, like, in 75, where they had you, guilted you into selling your homes or donating all your money. And, like, I don't want that to happen to you guys. Don't sell your homes and donate all your money.
Oh my goodness. Transfer your money to the watchtower? Really? They would do that? What's wrong with this lady? Oh, well, I don't know. Take a look at this. This is July 15th, 2022. A letter that was sent out from the headquarters of Watchtower Bible Tract Society for the elders, not for the rank and file members. They're not allowed to get these letters and find out what's going on. But the elders will then go ahead and personally tell the congregation, not in writing, because you see, that wouldn't be, if they couldn't legally put down in writing that you have to close your bank account and give it to them. That would they'd probably get sued. So they send it to the elders, and the elders are under a oath. They're never allowed to speak, right? They've already taken an oath. They can't tell on anybody. Even if they went to court, they wouldn't tell, right? They'd be finished. They'd lose their income, their job, they'd be disfellowshipped, everything. So what do they tell the elders? Well, it says, starting in September 2022, congregations and Kingdom Hall operating committees will be requested to cancel their bank accounts, transfer their funds to the branch. The branch will handle the payment requests in behalf of congregations and Kingdom Hall operating committees. These payment requests will be submitted by means of the jw.org due to the large number of bank accounts. These will be canceled gradually over the course of several months. Detailed instructions will be provided to each congregation as needed. Please do not contact the branch to ask when your congregation will close its bank account. 11. Contacting the branch. We are aware that these changes will result in many questions and doubts. The branch will try to anticipate these questions and provide answers by giving all of the necessary details as the adjustments are being implemented. For that reason, there is no need to inquire now about details related to adjustments that will take effect eventually, and for which more information will be provided after that. The accounting department will gladly help resolve any incident. Well, guys, that just doesn't sound very good at all. But anyway, listen to what this lady has to say here, this last part.
Oh, yeah. I was anointed at 10, but you're not allowed to tell people you're anointed until older, so you take the go-ahead. Like, you have to go through, like, these grooming and classes and lessons, and then they teach you the game, you know. I went rogue probably about 5 years ago. No, when you're from the Masonic family, you kind of have immunity because they don't want to piss you off. Like they won't do that. You can just kind of fade away because they know you hold secrets like this, you know, where I can go in and say, like look at their ring. Yeah, well, yeah, it's only like he anointed me. Yeah, my friend's nickname was York, and he used to consult the tarot all the time. But be careful. Don't donate all your money because, I mean, you're going to be going bankrupt probably within the next year and a half. So be careful because I do love you guys, and that's the only reason why I do what I do, honestly. Awesome. You guys take care.
Well, that was pretty heavy and absolutely correct. See that picture there? That is, I guess, down in the basement below the Vatican. If you look at that, it really does look like a serpent. There's the reptilian skin, slanted eyes, the fangs, and the snake skin, and all of that. And, you know, even if it's not, I mean, look at that. What is that? There's the Pope sitting there in his chair, and I guess the Black Pope, too, right? He's important. And two guards guarding them, right? But behind them is some kind of freaky, weird, demonic-looking thing. It's obvious that it's demons coming up out of hell. And, of course, he's holding the, he's got his staff. Looks like a serpent staff, right? So, what is this all about? What is all this symbolism? I mean, there's a whole lot more going on down there under the Vatican. There is articles, you can look it up and read it, but they make offerings, like sacrifices to the demons down there. I mean, they admit that. Now, is there some reason for all of this? Some ceremonial thing that goes back to ancient times? They're not really evil, they're just appeasing, demonstrating how life is an appeasement of evil, or I don't know. But it's not something that I would particularly like participating in, nor do I think it's a necessary thing for our salvation. And in fact, I think it would tend to, you know, especially if after years of doing this and nobody knew why they were doing it anymore, and, you know, some very greedy and evil people got in there as Pope and they didn't know what they were doing. Like, they didn't know that it was some sort of holy, like, ceremony. I mean, I don't know what's going on, but I guarantee I know enough about it that it's evil. And it looks evil. And I just wanted to point that out. But there's something else I wanted to share with you. For some reason, we have people like Jehovah's Witnesses who would easily say, because they say it in their watchtower all the time, oh, look at the Vatican, they're all evil, they're worshiping the devil, or something. They don't like it, you know, any other religion's all the devil. They can see it with their own eyes. They don't need nobody to tell them. But when somebody points out that Jehovah's Witnesses are doing the same kind of stuff and they're using the same symbols, they can't see it. They just can't see it. But when you look at these symbolisms, I know Catholics, a lot of them can't see it. Well, that's just the way it is. David isn't evil. It's just the way it is. But why? Why are we doing stuff that we don't understand? Why is it so demonic and evil? Perhaps that's why the world is so evil. Perhaps these people that are ruling over us are evil. You ever think of that? You ever think of these, these Bohemian Grove people that are in there, down in the Grove in California, pretending to fake sacrificing, they claim. They're not really doing it. It's just a ceremony, right? To sacrifice a person. Every year they come together, all the important people in the world, and they just pretend to sacrifice somebody to the what? To the deity Baal? Well, even pretending to worship the devil is evil. And who knows if they don't actually do it? But what? So is there a commonality with all these religions? Satanism, all evil symbolism. Just symbolism, Dave. Anton LaVey dressed up like the devil, but it's just symbolism. It's all right, Dave. It's all right. Right? They have rituals and have sex and all this stuff, but it's just symbolism. Okay, same with the Catholic Church. They're down there, looks like demonic crap, and they're doing all this demonic sacrifices, devils, but hey, it's just some sort of symbol. Don't worry about it. Like what's the Mormons doing down there in their temple with all these secret handshakes and secret underwear and all that? Oh, don't worry about it. It's just symbolism, Dave. You just don't understand. Okay, well, how about you, Jehovah's Witnesses? Why are you having a black mass every year? Why is it you're rejecting the body and blood of Christ every year? There's only one hope, one faith, one baptism. What are you doing, you nincompoops? Why did you accept this? Do you understand that it's insane to believe that the Great Tribulation began in 1914 or 1918 or whatever they're telling their flock this year? Like they've been false prophets many times, but it's just the new light, right? You know this is wrong. And when you're shunning your own children, you know it's wrong. Now I want to show you, here's what you probably don't know, and this may be what's confusing you, Jehovah's Witnesses. You think that because you worship Jehovah, and nobody else worships Jehovah but only us, they're all worshiping some Trinity, and therefore we must be the truth. And we're the only ones preaching, and you see, I know if any of you ex-witnesses or somebody happens to click on this and you're watching, and I know what you're going to be thinking. You're like, well, I understand all that. Maybe it's true, maybe not. But Dave, only we worship Jehovah, right? We're the only ones, so it's got to be true. Well, I hate to break this to you guys, but a lot of churches worship Jehovah. All the churches. The Catholics worship Jehovah. All the Protestants, the Seventh-day Adventists, even modern Mormons, and pretty much everybody else. So you say, yeah, but they don't ever use the name. Well, we are supposed to do everything in the name of Jesus. But is it that, are you going to hang your hat on the fact that, you're the only church that runs around from door to door saying Jehovah, 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 and that proves you're all right? Well, we're the only ones preaching the gospel. Yeah, but the Mormons go from door to door. Adventists go from door to door. Lots of people go from door to door. But you guys are doing a few other things that I don't know about. It seems like you've opened up your kingdom halls to, I don't know, maybe the CDC? Are they regulating your kingdom hall now? Why did you shut down for what? You quit preaching the gospel? Did that raise any red flags? If it's so important to preach a gospel and you won't stop for anything, but now the government tells you to stop and you do it, what's going on here, guys? Well, let's just say for a minute that all of this demonic evil, all these signs and symbols and everything, all the false prophecies, you could just forgive all of that. Shunning your children and this kind of thing. But do you really understand that you've even been deceived about the Jehovah thing? I want to at least share that thought with you. That perhaps the deity that you worship, Jehovah, is because it's the same exact deity, and you're calling it the same thing as the Masons call their deity. If you have the same vocabulary as Masons, maybe you are a Mason, right? If it looks like a duck and walks like a duck, maybe it's a duck. You guys, you go to Kingdom Hall. You don't go to churches. Did you know that Masons go to Masonic halls? I mean, we could go on and on with all of the similarities, but take a look at the name Jehovah according to Masons. Please take a look at this, friends.
Hey guys, how's it going? It's me, Smurf Girl. So I want to talk about the God Jehovah. When it corresponds to, in Freemasonry, their God name is Jehovah. But then in the Jehovah's Witness religion, their God is named Jehovah as well. And so what I want to do is a side-by-side comparison of the two and how they correlate to each other. And so what I first want to start with is the Masonic God Jehovah. Who exactly is he? And like I've read before, under the name Jehovah, it says, Jehovah is, of all the significant words of Freemasonry, by far the most important. It's the basis of our dogma and of our mysteries. Well, the most important definition is right here, where Jehovah is known as the universal sovereign. You've heard that in Jehovah's Witness doctrine before, but there's the great architect of the universe, and there it talks about the deity, where it says the title applied in the technical language of Freemasonry to the deity. He's also known as the grand architect of the universe, but he's known as the divine being, the master builder, or Jehovah. And when you look up on the internet who the great architect of the universe is, this is the great architect of the universe. Whether it's to represent Jesus, so here he's got the Masonic compass, the all-seeing eye, Baphomet, as above, as below. The great architect of the universe is a Masonic term. 100%. That's all you will find. Search the great architect of the universe. That is all you're going to see. 100%. So what would it say under the Jehovah's Witness religion? It's right here. Here is the 5/22/1970 awake. How marvelously the great architect of the universe implanted in men so greatly a variety of capabilities, where they're talking about the eye-catching architecture of ancient and modern times, where they're even using that term, the eye-catching architecture, where they're talking about building. Literally, that's what Masonry is about, is building and architecture. And it's saying that the great architect of the universe implanted in men such a great capability of, and it says right here, it is not a case of simply piling stone on stone. No, there are other considerations. Beauty, symmetry, that perfection of balance that must appear in the completed structure. They're talking about the Parthenon of Greece. This whole entire article. This is a 100% Freemason article. Modern eye catchers. And over again. And you may think, well, that's just a coincidence, right? Well, how I said how in Freemasonry, he's also known as the universal sovereign. Where this, right here, the universal sovereign, you search it. All these symbols come up. I'll click on one. This is the universal sovereign. This is Jehovah, according to Freemasonry. He is the universal sovereign. You can constantly see just over and over. There's the winged sun disk. Unfortunately, right there. That's the universal sovereign. When you look it up, the twin pillars of Freemasonry. So let's look on jw.org and watch our online library. We're going to look up universal sovereign on there, where it says Jehovah, God, is sovereign Lord. The universal sovereign.
The universal sovereign, Jehovah God, Jehovah as God and universal sovereign without self-interest. That's the Insight book, or I think, no, Man's Salvation book. The universal sovereign Jehovah. Continually, I mean, you've heard it continually. Well, let's look, we'll uncheck everything over here. Let's just check Bibles. Is universal sovereign a Bible term? No. Universal sovereign is not in the Bible. If you look under Grandmaster, the term Grandmaster is, it's either a master chess player or it's the head of an order of chivalry of Freemasons. That's the only two definitions for a Grandmaster. If you search on jw.org, on the Washar Online Library, you will see that they refer to Jehovah as the Grandmaster. As Israel's father and Grand Master, Jehovah deserved the very best. That's the kingdom ministry. Continually, they even put it in their Bible in Malachi. They put it in Hosea as well. Just go on and search Grand Master.
Wow. That was very impressive and very convincing to me. And I hope that you individuals out there who may be watching this and had been confused a little bit, and you saw that, I hope you understood the point. It isn't just an accident that Jehovah's Witnesses use these particular terms. All of them, exactly the way the Masons do. And you don't go to a church, you go to a hall. Right? There are no windows in most of your buildings, and everything's secret, and, everything. Right down the line. So, yeah, I thought this young woman, her channel is XJW Smurf Girl. And I'm going to put a link in the info box if you guys want to go and check out her channel. She seems like an amazing person. I'm going to go ahead and go, guys. We're up to about almost an hour. We didn't quite go an hour. Yay, we did a short video today. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. May the Lord bless you. And we will see you guys tomorrow.